1, go.
Welcome to What's the Score for Everton's rearranged game against Man City. Sorry we're a bit late for a technical difficulty with Zoom. Matt, last time this was due to be played, I remember us all thinking, do you know what? We'll face the full-strength team and this could be a good thing. It'll give us a week's rest because there was a lot of fixture congestion. Not really worked out, has it?
No, not at all. I think I remember the time, like, oh yeah, we'll play them when we've got, Alan back, and I think Luca Dean was still injured at that time, and Rodriguez, like, we'll smash them then, and all of a sudden we're here, the team's going to be announced in 4 minutes, and it's, as I'm sure people realise in a bit, when you read out the predictions from the WhatsApp group, there's not much positivity about going into this game. And fair play to anyone watches on YouTube, mate, because whenever we do these shows, we just get it wrong all the time. On Sunday, we actually said that we'd have a comfortable win, and it was genuinely the worst I've ever seen Everton play in my life. Right.
So do we need to say we're going to get battered? Because that's pretty much, bit of a spoiler here, but that's pretty much going to be the theme of the score predictions, to be honest. So
yeah, maybe that's what we need, and we'll get a win. But yeah, to anyone watching who's kept the faith with us, fair play, appreciate. They might just like me and you, mate, and us just laughing at us getting it wrong. I don't know what it is, but it's certainly not Rock Football and Insight at this point, is it?
No, we're not the best, are we? So going into this game, City, massive favourites, like ridiculous favourites, looking at the bookies odds. It is difficult to see past them, but this is the sort of game, and I know it's completely different because this Man City team is something else at the minute, and we're something else entirely at the minute. It is the sort of game where we can put a good performance in, at least. Would you be happy with a good performance? The typical Everton plucky defeat? No,
I don't think so. It's just, I actually think we've got more of a chance of getting a result tonight than we do on Saturday. And that's, people might think that's extremely negative, but it's just hard to look past that inherent, ability we have to just mess up at Anfield and play terribly there, even when there's no fans. But that game will take care of itself. But I don't think you'd be happy with a defeat. If we play well and we lose and I come on the post match, and I'm not going to rant and rave about getting beat. There's going to be no shame in getting beat to Manchester City, but I don't think I'd be happy. But there's got to be some sort of reaction, hasn't there? And I'm sure there will be with the team, which comes out in a couple of minutes. I'm sure it'll be very defensive, and we'll see.
I think
centre backs back in that back four again. But we've got to give it a go, and as much as they are a different prospect entirely, our best results and our best performances this season have come against better sides. These lads have tended to raise the game. They've shown great spirit against United, against Tottenham, against Chelsea and Arsenal and Leicester, and any other, even in the derby area in the season, they showed something to come back in that game twice and eventually get a result. So there is something in them where they can raise the game against these sort of teams and fight back in matches and get results. But it's whether you say City are in amongst that group of good sides this year, or whether they're just out on their own as the juggernaut in the Premier League this season.
It looks that way. The team's out. Pickford's in goal. There's a good.
It's early. I mean, it's early.
Yeah, it's out now.
You sure you're not doing Chico's team?
It's definitely not. Let's see. No, it's definitely not. Oh, mind you, Fabian Delph's playing, so maybe it is. No, he's not. Pickford's in goal.
Oh God, I was going to say.
Holgate, Keane, Godfrey, Mina. Dean,
the back four's back.
Yeah, the back four is back. Dean, Decore, Davis, Iwobi, Richarlison, Sigurdsson, 4-4-1-1 kind of setup.
Does that mean Sigurdsson's playing as false nine again?
I would hope he's playing behind Richarlison, who's playing up front. I would hope the two of them are playing up front together, to be honest, because I think it's sooner 4-2.
I think for me, maybe you play Sigurdsson as a 10 or you don't play him. But
yeah.
So yeah, not major. I think it's not a surprise that the Pickford's back in, is it? I think Olsen, after the promising start, hasn't completely convinced in the last few games. So maybe the manager has thought, as much as he did a decent job for us in some games, that long term he's not the option, and perhaps going back to Pickford. Back four makes sense. I think that's when we've looked at our most solid this season, and we're playing a really good side.
Yeah.
No Alan in the squad at all, which is interesting considering we all thought he'd be back and available tonight. So that's strange. Josh King on the bench again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think it's sort of what we expected, isn't it? You know, Dean's going to be on the left, Iwobi's going to be on the right, and it's going to be compact. We're going to have to play on the counter attack, and we're going to need those lads in midfield to put a real shift in.
Yeah, their teams: Edison, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo, Rodrigo, Mahrez, Bernardo, Foden, Sterling, Jesus. So
Jesus always scores against us, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, I think actually got a stat on that. He scored more Premier League goals against Everton than any other side in the competition with 7.
Oh dear.
The player to score 6 straight Premier League appearances against us. So.
Oh dear. They're on the bench for them, Aguero and De Bruyne. So, you know, at least we know putting the game on 70 that they've not got much to bring on to swing it their way.
Do you know what? I'm glad John Stones isn't playing because it'd be good they're not there to boo him. The park end.
Yeah, he's been class for them, hasn't he? That's
been really good. In all honesty, I've got nothing against him, really, apart from those Cruyff turns. But yeah, you know, it's not. I feel pretty ambivalent towards him. But
that's quite an attacking lineup for them. You know, that front 5: Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Foden, Sterling, Jesus. You know, that's attack. Maybe if you're being, listen, if you know, we are clutching straws a bit here, but if you look at that, you could say that the one thing that they maybe are a bit in midfield there is a little bit lightweight. You know, they're all unbelievable players, don't get me wrong, but in terms of physical presence and legs getting around the pitch, and if someone like Doucouré can get the ball and drive forward, then, you know, Mahrez or Bernardo Silva or Foden should be getting near and really should be. You know, even Rodri, who sits at the base, that midfield isn't the most mobile of lads, but, you know, there is some serious tackle firepower there, isn't there, in that midfield and front line.
I suppose looking at our midfield, we haven't really got anyone who's going to put a foot in, have we? Really, you know, Davis is good at breaking up the play and that, but he's not much of an enforcer or anything like that, is he? There's no one going to be giving them a kick, put it that way.
No, you wouldn't think so. Doucouré's more of a, like you said, just nick the ball sort of player as well, isn't he? He's not going to.
Yeah.
You don't really see him putting slide tackles in or knocking people over. He's just in the right place at the right time to pinch it off people. So, you know, Sigurdsson is absolutely not going to do that, is he? But I think Sigurdsson's probably got an important role tonight. And listen, this is a different sort of level, isn't it? But against Leeds, he was really good on Calvin Phillips, wasn't he? Just sitting at the base of that midfield and stopping them from playing out. And, you know, that's what they do through Rodri, albeit if he's not, you can't get the ball to him. You've got about 8 other players who can, you know, dictate the play and get them going. But I think screening him off and stopping them getting forward in that sense is going to be an important job. But yeah, it's going to be hard. Let us know in the comments what you think about our side as well, what you think about City's team, and let us know what our, you know, trying to be positive. What's Everton's way to winning this game? If we're going to win this game tonight, how are we going to do it? Are we going to sit in and pinch one? Do we need to get in amongst them and press them? Is it going to be from a set piece? Are we going to rely on Rodriguez coming off the bench late on and creating something out of nothing? If Everton are going to win tonight, what's the roadmap to victory? Let us know.
I think depressingly for me, it's just staying in the game, isn't it? I mean, it's coming back to that, but I think it's staying in the game until 70 minutes. If we're still in the game at that point, you know, going into the last 20, anything can happen. Coming up with all the cliches again here.
But it's true against
But
these,
it does feel like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's what you've got to do, isn't it? You know, and I think the thing with these is that they become a different side, haven't they? You know, I think in City teams, you know, they probably have better teams in recent years, but they probably had teams as well where if they came to Goodison and scored early on, because they are quite susceptible to counter-attacks and those sorts of things, you probably would have thought, well, it's not completely game over, albeit we're not going to have much of the ball or get a kick. With these, it feels like if they score now, you know, that defence is so solid, isn't it? In regards to, you know, Diaz has come in and transformed them. It's hard to see a way back in, especially when you've not got your best striker on the pitch as well as the case of us. So I think you're right, mate. Yeah, then it's gonna be hard, isn't it? It's gonna be really hard to get anything tonight. And like you said, even if you're in the game at 17, just, you know, put yourself in the position of those players. If you're in the game on 70, it's 0-0, and you've been, you know, your legs are aching, you've been going side to side trying to stop their play, closing people down, you know, hacking things out the box as would be the case. And then all of a sudden, you look to the sidelines and they bring on De Bruyne or Aguero or Ferran Torres, who I think is going to be a really good player in the future. You know, that must be demoralising, and that's sort of the scale of the challenge that's facing Everton tonight. But you know, they've got they put a team out. He's put a team out, hasn't he, which is built to contain them, and that's ultimately what we've got to do. But we've got to use the ball well when we get it as well, and try and make sure we can get it up the pitch for a minute or two, win free kicks, string a few passes together, try and get Richarlison into the game, all those things. You've got to be smart. You can't just lash it away all the time. But yeah, it is going to be tough for us.
Yeah, I get the feeling that, in all honesty, that back four is basically our blueprint for the rest of the season. Because I think our best results come when we can just grind those results out, and it's not great given the start of the season we had where we were putting loads of goals past everyone. But it's the way things are, and I think no matter what happens tonight, I think we need to start just playing in that back four or three if that back four with Dean as left back, depending on who we're playing against. It's going to be difficult because if you look the way we sort of sat in against Leicester, Leicester are nowhere near Man City standards, but the pressure eventually tells. And City are the sort of team whereby if the pressure tells once, you can then just knock it up a gear and they're out of sight.
They just exploit you then, don't they? Because all of a sudden, you've not got that parity to cling on to in the game, and heads go down and concentration starts to wane a little bit, especially when you're on the back foot all the time. But we had a few points in here. Matt Flusk, nice to see you watching, mate, saying no Davis, no party. But Davis is playing. Unless it's one of those accounts which is just pretending to be somebody off the Blue Room like we've had on. But Matt also said, already queued my post-match tweet accusing Richarlison of playing for a move with a hat-trick. I hope so, mate. I would take that all day. Jonathan Haddock saying our defence has been holier than the Pope's vest recently, and hopefully this lineup will sort that out. Can't see us winning though. Neil H just come in saying the only way we can win here is if we stay in the game for as long as we can. We'll try and nick a goal from a set piece. Without Dom, we're pretty blunt up front of where we're going off. If we're going off the Fulham game, Neil H as well, as I said, effort is the main thing. That Fulham game was truly embarrassing, and a fair few of the players there was a performance. And Double A FIFA 2000, who I'm sure is a Manchester City fan, saying, I'm sorry, but we're going to destroy you guys. I feel like Richarlison will be isolated. He will be, mate. That's what happens in these sorts of games. Gavin Crozier, I just wanted to try. And David Southall, we can do it tonight. David, love to have a pint of whatever you've been drinking before this, mate. And Steve Bamford has got a question for you, Les. What do you think about Ancelotti overall? Can't get behind this football we're playing personally, but I know he's the best we can get.
See, I don't mind defensive football because, I was a defender when I used to play at a really, really, really bad standard. I always think you got to build on a good defense, so I don't mind seeing defensive, but to see it, to see us fall apart against Fulham, that when we try something different, that's why I think I'd sooner just be pretty basic and just get the defence sorted first and build on that. But yeah, I mean, Ancelotti, he's messed up, but
it's about balance for me. I think if you could say, what's the ideal way Everton play, I'd probably go to that Leeds game where in the first half they showed a lot of real clever attack and play on the counter attack and created a number of chances. And then in the second half, granted, they gave away that stupid goal early on, but they showed they could dig in and defend. And I think that was a game where they showed both sides of what they're about, and there was a bit of balance in the play. We've had times this season where we've been mad attack, and we've had other times where we've been really defensive. But I think maybe sort of looking and thought, that's about where I'd pick you in regards to what I want to see from them. Just being competent and aggressive and positive, really, in all aspects of the play.
Yeah, I just think on that sort of attacking play we had at the start of the season, the attack looked very balanced at that point, didn't it? The midfield three had a really good balance with Alan, Decore, and it was Gomez at the time, wasn't it? It was playing really well, so that looked really well balanced. And the front three looked the same, but that sort of, I know the players haven't played together that much since sort of the injuries and that kicked in and a couple of dropping form for some players, and we've not really been able to get that back at all. And I don't know, you just wonder if we can now. So that's why I think maybe if we just sit in like this and see what happens. The only thing for me as well is, even if we play well tonight, it doesn't mean anything, does it? Because there's no guarantee that we're going to play well in the next game. Well, probably won't, but that's another story. And the game after that, even if we play well in the derby, even if we won the derby, there's no guarantee we're going to take that into the next game because we just haven't been doing that, have we?
No, it's consistency. It's been the issue for everyone, hasn't it? You know,
Yeah,
we were on some tweet last night, and I think Carl Roper actually spoke really well about this, and put a lot of things into perspective. But I just feel like Sunday's performance was just outside of all that. You can have perspective and you can look at the big picture, but when you play that badly, you've just got to be angry and pissed off at the way it went, in my opinion. And we had a question there from Neo Luddite saying, got to step up tonight, fingers crossed. Also said, can you get Chico on the post-match talk? I've asked him to come on plenty of times, mate, but unfortunately it's not for him, which is fair enough.
He prefers to let the writing do his talking, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's very good at that, to be fair. So
yes,
absolutely should let him. But yeah, we've got some upbeat predictions from some of our regulars.
Right, there we go then. So Hannah was the first one to answer the call. She said 1-4, lol, and that's being generous to us after Sunday, I think. Which I thought it's quite feasible that in the sort of respect that we go 1 up, they pull it back, and it's quite a tight game until about an hour, and then they just leather us towards the end in the last 20 minutes or so.
Unless we bring, we could bring James on and Josh King.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Mosey said 0-0 to Everton, which it would be.
Yeah, it'd be like that famous New York Post front page after England and USA drew at the World Cup.
Oh, so yeah.
USA wins 1-1.
Speaking of which, Rob Vera said 0-3. So City there. Laura didn't want to predict because she don't think she'll do City justice. Kate 1-3 to them, unfortunately. Jack Carlisle 4-0 to Bernard Manning.
Bernard Manning? Is he playing?
Famous City fan. My mate Stu said 4-2 to City. My dad said 2-0 to City, and Joe said 2-2.
He's right, Joe.
Young Joe's put the best prediction in there for us. What do you reckon?
So what do we do here? Because we've got it so wrong on every single one of these. Do we just say we're going to get battered in hope that, there'll be something in the ether that gives Everton a draw or a win?
We might as well try it, mightn't we?
What do you actually think is going to happen? Let us know in the comments as well, whether and let us know if your prediction is based on crying it in and, being wrong and hoping that you're right, or if you actually think that that's going to happen.
The Twitter handle with Les Roberts and the plus in it. We grind out the 1-0. But in all seriousness,
you're going to be parenthesis negative.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I can't see much past 3-0,
So yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. In fact, 5-0. Let's go for it. No, I think City got everything in it to beat us 3-0. And I don't mean that as in we're going to absolutely stink the gaff out, because I don't think we will. I think we'll put in a decent showing, but I just think they're that good and we're still that fragile that, that if they score one, there's no reason why they can't score a couple more. So I'm going to cry it in a 3-0. What about you?
All right, I'll try and be as positive as possible. I think Gundogan not playing for them might unsettle them a little bit early on. We might scab something from a set piece of our 4 meathead centre-backs playing. And they will settle into the game and get an equaliser on about 70 and we'll hang on. So I'm going to say 1-1.
1-1. Yeah, that's pretty positive.
Yeah.
That, to be honest, definitely.
Yeah, just need to, like I said, just stay in the game. And that I think if we can see it early, that's it. But that team we've got out now, how geared that up, how much that's geared towards being defensive. It's, where'd you go from there? We've had a few predictions. Matthew Pickford saying 5-0 to the Blues. Let's have them based on the fact I've had 3 tins. Neo Luddite 2-0 to Everton. Complete control for 90 minutes.
Nice.
I'm not entirely sure what. I'm not sure what surprised me more: the scoreline or the fact that we're in complete control. Matt Flush saying we'll probably nick a 1-0 because Everton are a meme. True. Neil Michael saying no team has had consistent season, but the issue for us is I'm struggling to remember a stand-up performance when we put the team away. Prob back to September and West Brom and Brighton. Yeah, fair enough. We haven't come out and smashed anyone for a while.
No.
Stephen Sheehan, I think City go I think 3-1 City go 1-0 up and then they turn it on. Alex Roberts, 2-0 to Everton is right, mate. Carlo's made a deal with the devil, beat the top 6, lose to the bottom 6. Gavin Crozier, 2-1. I'm assuming that's to us, mate, based on home first, away second. And Neil Michaels said Jesus will score. That is an inevitability, not a prediction. Yeah, he has got an unbelievable record against us, unfortunately. But
that's a fair shout. I think just quickly on the consistency, I think we are actually facing the only team in the division who are showing any sort of consistency now. And really the only team in the division we should probably be scared of. I think these are the only team you can look at kickoff and think, you know what, these could batter us. I think even Liverpool at the weekend, you know, I know it's Anfield and everything. There's no reason why they should batter us. I can't see that with any team in the division apart from City. Yeah. So I think we ride this one out, gear ourselves up for the cup game as well.
Yeah, it's just the fear with them, isn't it? That if they do come out and play well, then there's not really much you can do, is there?
No.
But it's, obviously, we're not here really to look at it. You want to see Everton react to that well and put bodies on the line and defend well and use the ball properly when they can. It's, looking at it from our point of view, we need to be 10, 20 times better than they were at the weekend to even be in with a chance of getting any kind of result from this game. And, just want to see a big improvement with that in mind.
I think he has picked the team most likely to give us that, especially with bodies on the line in the back four. So.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll have to see, mate. Yeah. Good options. Rodriguez on the bench and King on the bench are good options as well, I suppose. So, we'll have to wait and see.
Who's on post-match?
Dave and Mo so far. If it's going well, I'll try and rip somebody else in. But if not, I'm happy for everyone to just, forget about this one. Because let's face it, everyone's going to be on tenterhooks ahead of Saturday anyway. So, this kickoff time's horrendous as well, isn't it? Who wants to come on and do a podcast after Everton have likely got beat by Manchester City at 10:15? It probably won't finish till 11.
Graveyard, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's task, mate.
Will people come back and watch it, please? Because we want to interact and talk about the game, of course, but I'm sure everybody will agree. It's unless, of course, you're watching in the States or maybe Australia, like Ryan Reynolds, you can get up and watch it first thing. But so why not just put it at 8 o'clock? Man, don't get it.
Yeah, that 15 minutes is just too much. Right, everyone pop back for an extra half an hour of misery after the game. And we will be back with what's the score for the derby. Can't wait for that one.